Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Annalisa and today I am doing the It's a New Year book tag. This tag actually started out as a collab. It was between Lily Eleanor Reads and Browsing for Books, and I was tagged by the Wild Book Garden. And unlike my usual thing I do with tags, which is film them about 6 months after I'm tagged in them, I'm filming this about the next week because it's a time sensitive tag because it's a new year. And this has thus put off some other things I have backlogged, like the Snakes and Songbirds book tag that I filmed back in December, but which still hasn't come out because I keep having time-sensitive things that need to come out first. I promise Kelsey it will come out in the next 2 weeks. But for now, the first question on the tag is, do you do a Goodreads challenge? And if so, how many books have you planned for this year? And for me, I just started using Goodreads regularly last year, and I've just started actually putting in the dates that I read things this year. So I'm not huge into Goodreads system, and also I'm not huge into goal setting with specific standards set because I fail at them a lot, and I feel worse about not succeeding at goals than I feel good about succeeding at them. So overall they make me feel worse rather than better. So I don't do measurable goals that much. Usually I'm more like, I want to do more of this, not I want to do 100 of this. But I am going to be recording all the dates and everything that I read things this year, and I'm also going to be writing in more written reviews on Goodreads because usually I have just been doing a star reading to keep track that I read such and such amount of books. So I'll be engaging more on Goodreads, and also next year I'll be able to give you my stats because I really like listening to everybody else's stats, so I think I'd like to see my own stats as well. Question 2 is, what are some other reading goals that you have? And so for that I want, as I said, I don't like numbers particularly because then you can fail really measurably. So I want to read more books by POC authors. I got off to a really great start the first month of this year because I read like 3 books by POC authors and 1 book by a white person. That was what I read during the first half of January, but now I've gone straight back into reading a bunch of things by white people. So it's gonna go up and down throughout the year, but I would like to read more this year than I did last year. I would also like to find more books about ace characters and written by ace authors. I found a few last year during readathon and a couple of other times, but I would really like to find a lot more. They're kind of hard to find, but I do know that more of them exist than that I have read, so I'd like to find them. Number 3 is, what is a reading habit that you would like to leave in 2019, and what is a reading habit that you would like to pick up in 2020? And for that, I like to more ruthlessly DNF things, which I succeeded at early on this month. I DNF'd something that I really wanted to finish because I had, you know, what's that called? When you have put something into something, you invested time or money or whatever, and then you realize that it's a bad investment, but you want to keep going so that you haven't wasted your previous investment. So I had spent time reading this book and I wanted to count it as a whole book that I had read rather than only half a book. That doesn't count, right? What does it matter what counts? But anyway, so I had a hard time DNFing it, but I finally did, and I'm glad I did because I really didn't like the ending, and if I had stayed through the whole book and then got that ending, I would have been very much more upset than I was. I was only half book's worth of upset when I skipped to the end, because that's how I DNF. I skip to the end. So I would like to leave behind the habit of keeping reading things that to justify how much time I've already spent on them, and I would like to pick up the habit of being less judgy of books, because like as I reviewed some books I guess just last week, I said that I tried some things outside of the box like contemporaries and paranormal romance, and I normally wouldn't try those because I have heard bad things about the genres or I've found other ones that I didn't like. So I would like to try more new things because I'll DNF things more easily. It's not as big of a risk, so I can try more new things in case I might like them, and I don't have to read the whole thing if I don't like it, and that way maybe I won't feel as scared of trying new books. Number 4 is, do you have any other methods for tracking your reading outside of Goodreads? And basically this is how I track my reading outside of Goodreads. I did not remember what I read when before I started my booktube channel. So now I can look back and be like, oh, I had a whole month, July of a couple years ago, when I read a bunch of J.D. Robb books again, or I read that book for the first time during that readathon that year, and I find it really handy and I really like that. Number 5, did you get any presents for the holidays that were books that you're on like thing you want to read quickly and promptly because you got them for a gift. That was totally not how they phrased it. That was my terrible paraphrase, but pretty much the books that I got as gifts were ones I had already read. The only one that I hadn't was The Cat Who Came for Christmas, and I am almost finished with that one. So the other ones I got were this one, which I already read back in December, directly after getting it, and Space Opera's on a different shelf. My aunt and my cousin just gave me this, not for Christmas, but just because they saw it, and it's I Could Pee on This and Other Poems by Cats, and it's very cute and funny, and I already also read this. Oh, and Howl's Moving Castle I also got for Christmas this year, but I've already read it. I do plan to read it soon because it's due a reread because I really liked it, and I'm having a hard time remembering it right now, but it's not urgent. Number 6 is, what was the first read of the year and how did you choose what to read first? And that was easy because I was already in the middle of a couple of books. I was in the middle of Midsummer's Mayhem, and the first one that I started and then finished after the new year was Soulless, and both of those were in last week's video. And for Midsummer's, I didn't pick it specifically to start the year off with. I was in the middle of it when the last year ended, and then Soulless was due back at the library. But I'm really glad that I read it then because I really enjoyed it and really got me off to a really nice start. Number 7 is, are there any series you want to continue or finish this year that you started last year or were in the middle of last year? Last year I started the Howl's Moving Castle. There's 3 books and I've now read 2 of them, so I'd like to read the last one this year. That's A House of Many Ways, I think. And of course I'm looking forward to J.D. Robb's next book in her In Death series that is coming out February 4th. Number 8 is, who is a content creator that you are looking forward to seeing more of this year? And it didn't specify booktube, so I'm gonna say Stephanie Bethany, who is an autistic YouTuber, and she makes really good info stuff featuring scientific studies and experience from other people with autism and scientists, and as well as her own experience, and I really like her stuff. Also, Jessica Kelgren-Fozard, she is chronically ill and really likes vintage fashion, and I really get a lot from her. Makes me feel better about being chronically ill. So I'm looking forward to seeing more of that in the new year. Number 9 is, what readathons are you looking forward to / planning on participating in? And for that, I am planning on participating in the Demonathon in February. It's from the 14th to the 28th. I will link information for that below. Also, Valentines, possibly. That one's going to be a bit much, possibly, but I would like to try because it's a really cool idea. And it's hosted by a booktuber I really like. That is Chapter Kate. Number 10 is, are there any 2020 debut novels you are looking forward to? And no, because I don't keep track of debut things coming out. The only things I know that are coming out are coming from authors that I already like. Unless they are people that I know. Like if I know somebody who is a writer and then they come out with their first book, but I knew them as a friend first, I will read that. Number 11 is, a creator you discovered in 2019. I think this is specifically related to books, who is a small creator and who you are looking forward to seeing more stuff from them in 2020. I found 4 because the Wild Book Garden, who tagged me, did 4, and she also tagged the people who she was naming in this part, and I think that's very efficient, so I'm also doing that. So first is Kiara the Scrivener, who is another person who is chronically ill. She has fibromyalgia like I do, and I really find her talking about that really uplifting, and she's also a writer, and I just identify with her in a lot of ways, and she's a super sweet person. A lot of people in the book community seem to know her, even though she only has 700 and some subscribers, but she's like friends with everybody, probably because she's awesome. Then we have Storm Reads, who has very different reading tastes from me. She mostly reads thrillers, mysteries, and romances with the occasional fantasy, and so she's somebody I like to go to when I'm wanting to step out of my box a little and try something new. I just requested a bunch of books from her favorites of 2019 list because I wanted to try out some mysteries, and she mentioned a series she really liked, so I really appreciate her different recommendations, and I just like the way she talks about books. Then we have Julie H, who I also just watched the 2019 best books video of, you know, those videos that everybody's making, and she picked like one book that I have currently and am excited to read. The other book she said was Uprooted, which is behind me and is definitely one of my favorite reads, and she liked the same things about it. And then just as I was watching that whole video, I was like, I totally agree with all these things, and I wanted to read the books that were on her list that I haven't yet tried. And she's a very sweet person, And then Sarah the Dreamer is someone I found very recently. She is so passionate and excited when she talks about books, and I really love that. And she reviews a lot of fantasy, so I find her reviews very helpful for finding me new things that I will like. So all y'all are tagged. As usual, no pressure if it's not your thing. Also, it's a bit late in the year now for somebody to then film one after seeing this, so maybe consider yourselves the first tagged of the next year so you can bam, bring it out just January 1st or something, or just do it late, whatever makes you happy. Anyone who would like to do this tag who has not been tagged by anybody else, I also tag you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll be seeing you in the next video. Bye!